Let's replace the inner tube in this e-bike. This is the gyrocopter Vortex. This can also apply to other e-bikes. Here's the shaft that goes through that hub with all the washers and spacer in order. In order to replace the inner tube, we have to unseat the tire bead off the rim. To do this, we're going to use a screwdriver and a pick in this example, but you can use 2 screwdrivers or 2 small pry bars in order to do this. Now you want to be careful with the bead because you don't want to rip it by accident or you're going to need a new tire. As you can see in this example, we're using 1 screwdriver that stays at the same place to hold the bead lifted like this, and then the other one is going around to move up more and more of the bead of the rim. But you need to leave your screwdriver or pry bar into the starting point of this project, because if you remove it, the bead is going to go back into the rim. So now we're completely off one side of the tire. Now you would be repeating the step if you would take the tire completely off, but now for us we're just going to turn the tire around and remove the valve cap so that we can push our valve right into the rim. And then like that we can remove the inner tube. We're just holding the bead up of the tire so that we can put our hand in there and pull on the valve, and then the tube just come right out from there. The tricky part is going to be to put the new one back in. This kit came with new valve, new caps, and the valve stem repair kit for the treads. Now the first thing that we're going to do with the tube is actually push in the valve stem through the rim. This is kind of like the hardest part of the whole process. There you go. Now it's in, so we can start making the tube go in all the way around. Now be careful not to twist the tube as you're pushing it in. So take your time. Make sure it's flat all the way around, and make sure that it's in enough so that when you're pushing your bead and of your tire back in, the tube will not get pinched into in between the rim and the bead of the tire. At first we're just going to concentrate on pushing in one small part of the tire inside the rim. You don't want to go too far apart with the screwdriver at the beginning. You're pushing them both up together, and it's going to pop the bead right in. And then after that you're going to want to keep one of your screwdriver at your original starting point, and the other one you can put it at a little bit further and then work your bead in. You can work your bead in too with just your finger for the first little bit that it's trying to do, and it should be getting easier and easier to push in, just like so. Now we just need to air it up. But first we're going to flip it around and make sure that our valve stem is nice and straight, because we don't want to start airing up the tire with the valve stem crooked, or it might just get worse, or it can even break off. Now we're ready to put air into the tire. Now every tire is going to be different, so just somewhere on the side of the rubber you're going to find out what to inflate it to. For us it's 40 psi. We're setting up the machine 40 right now. 6. We're gonna crank it up all the way to 40 psi. Now when you're starting to inflate everything, just make sure that the bead is sitting at the right spot and nothing is trying to twist in there, and your valve stem stays straight. If it goes crooked, then you can just deflate the inner tube again and start over. The tire is pretty small, so we're already at 24 psi, and everything seems perfect with it. Now that we reached the 40 psi, we just have to unscrew our tool from it, our tire inflator, and don't forget to put the valve cap back on, and we're ready to reinstall this tire. Make sure that you reinstall the tire with all the right washer and lock washer and spacer back in place. This specific bike here, I have a brake rotor on one side, so the spacer that is the largest goes onto the side of that brake rotor. I'm just spinning the tire to make sure everything runs through, and yeah, we're ready to go. Can take it off the dirt bike lift and go for a little test drive and see how it goes.